Welcome back to All the Work, my restoration slash refurbishment slash awesomeification of my 1987 Ski Supreme. I took a week off from boat work to go on a family vacation. We were due. We've been putting off that vacation for a long time, specifically because the boat work was going on. Winter is fast approaching, and I was really concerned about getting the engine put back in so that the engine could be in a garage all winter long. However, the guy who is storing my engine for me right now offered to winterize it for me. So I took him up on it, and he winterized it. I'm much less concerned about the engine, and me and the family got a vacation. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident that all of the foam is out of the boat. And the next phase is going to be a little bit of fiberglass work to help seal the floor to the stringers. I was a little dismayed at how much the floor was actually off the stringers. I put that 5200 in. I think that's going to help. However, I'm going to put some fiberglass down in the holes connected to the side of the stringer where available, and then up in and actually connect to the floor. So I'll actually have some like vertical laminates of fiberglass holding the floor down, and maybe you'll be able to see that a little better when we get there. You can see that I've moved the boat outdoors. When I did the fiberglass work before, it stunk up the house. It was really bad, and you could smell it, and it just wasn't an okay situation. So now I am going to do all my fiberglass work from here on out outdoors. That polyester resin is pretty nasty stuff. Now, the fall is a terrible time to bring a boat outside and do fiberglass work because the leaves are falling off the trees. So Luke's over here. He saw me pull the boat out, came over to say hi, and then he suggested I put up a tarp over it. So that's what the rope is. I strung that up using the Christmas light hook, which actually just rips right out. So that didn't work at all. And then off camera, I put blue tape down over the holes that I wouldn't be utilizing. You can see those over on the right side to keep the leaves from falling into the holes and filling up the middle of the boat. Not ideal. Here I am adding more tape over the holes on the passenger side, keep the leaves from going into the boat, but it is what it is. So now I'm getting ready to fiberglass work. Now, it is borderline warm enough to be out here doing it. In the sun, I'm getting 75 degrees. The first step of this fiberglass work is to mix up a little peanut butter and create the surface that I'm going to be able to bond the fiberglass to. Now, some of the holes that are close to the side of a stringer have a little lip where at the top of the stringer comes, and anything that was a 1/4 of an inch or less is where I'm going to try and actually do the laminate. So what I'm doing is I'm putting peanut butter down into the stringer or down under the floor next to a stringer and kind of pulling up and creating a beveled straight line from the side of the hole down to the stringer so that when I lay the fiberglass on it I'll get a good connection. So I need to do the peanut butter work, put all that in, take a little break, let that harden, and then come out and do the fiberglass over that. This is a great time to remind everybody once again that I am a rookie. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm kind of making up this method as I go. Well, not kind of, I'm definitely making up this method as I go. I don't know if it's necessary, if it is really going to make that much of a difference, but it's definitely going to do something, and I just want to do every little thing that I can to hold this boat together really, really well, in lieu of not actually removing that entire floor section. Here I am getting going on actually laminating the fiberglass in there. You saw that as I stuck those little 4-inch sections of fiberglass in, I was leaving about 1 inch coming out. You can just see a little lip of one there over the rim of the boat. I'm leaving those sticking up like that so I can do an easy cut with an oscillating tool to get those cut off and then sand it down. I'm trying to do most of the wetting of the fiberglass outside in that little fiberglass tray. Totally awesome cameo from Murphy the Cat right there. Now I slow this down right here to show that I'm actually scooping up resin with my hand and cupping it in my hand and holding it down into there and wetting out the glass totally barehanded. I'm not going to say that this is just because I'm a rookie maneuver here. I actually saw Andy with Boatworks today do the same maneuver, so I can realistically say I'm taking this from a pro. Another thing to note is the sun has set at this point. I definitely got going on this project a little later in the day than I should have. The temperature drop was dramatic when the sun went down. Again, it's the fall, and we live at over 6,000 feet, so once that sun went away, I got those 70-degree temperatures down into 55 quick. So I hustled, just finished up as much fiberglass as I possibly could. I had to do one more bucket at this point. I'm hoping that there's enough latent heat within the fiberglass bucket itself to hold off those temperatures to get me through this final push, and I am hustling at this point. So here I am the next day, cleaning the boat up once again. I will note that doing all that fiberglass work outdoors worked wonderfully. There was no fiberglass smell that made it into the house. I went inside, ate some dinner with the fam, and let the boat sit outside for another hour, and then pushed it back into the garage where I have those halogen lights set up, and I kept the temperature around 54 degrees. Not the best drying temperature, but warm enough. Here I'm using the oscillating saw, and I'm cutting off the top lip of all of those vertical laminates that I put in. Everything hardened up. It appears to have attached to the floor as well as to the stringers. I think this little method worked. Whether or not I needed it, I still don't know, but I'm happy I did. I had a grand vision that I was going to get this boat jacked up and I was going to foam all the voids the next day. However, right there my air compressor blew up, and my method of vacuuming and using the air compressor to blow the leaves out of it just went to hell. That was a frustrating maneuver. So here I am the next day just trying to use a shop vac to get all the leaves out. At some point I'm physically reaching in and pulling leaves out, other times using the vacuum cleaner, crawling all the way up in the nose, just trying to get this thing cleaned up as much as possible, because the next step is pouring foam into the boat. Now another note about pouring foam in the boat is I am pretty terrified of this next step. I don't have a good vision of, or I should say I didn't have a good vision of how I was going to, one, jack the boat up, because I'm using the gravity feed method from Ron Tanis at Ski Boat Parts Online. And then on top of that, I'm just a little nervous about pouring the foam, because that seems like a one-shot deal, super important, needs to be nailed the first time. Now I have all these holes in the Swiss cheese method on the passenger side, and there's too many holes. It wouldn't work well. I know that going in, that it wouldn't work pouring the foam. So what I'm doing is I'm using Gorilla Tape, really good duct tape, to section off the longer holes and to cover holes that I'm not going to use and get ready for the foaming. Now all this texting that's going on is me trying to rally some people to come help me raise the boat up, lift it for the next phase. A couple more holes to cut into the boat to be able to pour foam into. That was Luke popping into the garage. Here I am describing to him my crazy plan of cutting some holes into the ceiling of the garage so I can hook slackline straps over my rafters, hook down onto the tongue of the trailer, and with two ratchets basically ratchet the tongue of the trailer up into the air. Now, Luke put a pretty impressive deadlift on the front of the trailer there. He lifted it up while I went back and looked and did some measurements so I can make the supports for the back of the trailer. Now, if I had a traditional ski boat trailer, I would have a guard that goes under the prop on the trailer, and I could just jack the boat up and it would lay on that guard and everything would be hunky-dory. I don't have that kind of trailer. My trailer doesn't have that guard, so I need to put some supports under the back of the trailer, and what I'm going to use is some logs that I got laying around the house. I actually need to use a chainsaw to cut the logs, and as you saw before when the boat was outside, I live in a neighborhood, so I was out ripping a chainsaw in the middle of the neighborhood. Hopefully the HOA didn't pay too much notice. So there the logs are. I put some 2x6s over the logs in case those things explode. The 2x4s or the 2x6s will hopefully distribute some of that pressure. And then I put tires around the log so that if that log explodes, the boat will fall down and bounce onto the tires and not dent or break anything. Again, making it all up as I go. And this is probably why I'm so nervous about this whole thing, because this is the process I'm going with to get this trailer jacked up in the air. After all that work of getting the tires and the logs centered around the rear of the trailer, I realized I can't close the garage door, so then I have to repeat the whole process over again, get everything aligned, moving it back. Next step is to pour some foam. I am terrified.